Well, thank you very much to all for coming. Let's start this conversation. I will do a brief introduction about what we are going to talk now. We are going to talk about mobility as a service, and I would like to focus on three key aspects, okay? I would like to talk about the stakeholders, how companies are being transformed in order to be able to offer mobility as a service, new business models. I would like to talk also about technologies, because we need to talk about integrating mobility services. We need to talk about developing mobility platforms. And the third one, I would like to talk how we face, from different points of view, how we face these new challenges in our companies, okay? So I would like to start with Nicolas. You know Nicolas, the digital hub, cities, satellites, Wondo, etc. Ferrovial has been evolving his business from the traditional mode to new ways of offering mobility services. So I would like to know, from your point of view, which are the key aspects for succeeding in this kind of company transformation?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I think in any business, you have always to look for three things. One is that you're in a growing sector. The second one, that it's sophisticated so that that there is room for efficiency. And the third one is that you have the capabilities to take advantage of that room for efficiency. Now, when you look at the mobility business, I think it's obvious that it has exponential growth. I think it is sophisticated. It has room for efficiency. And the key question is whether or not you have the capabilities to take advantage of those room for efficiency. So you were mentioning a number of companies in which we are investing and we are developing, and you have to look at that in that perspective. What are we doing from Ferrovial? We are trying to anticipate the future of mobility, trying to understand how people will move, what new business opportunities are going to arise from that anticipation. Secondly, which are going to be the key capabilities to play a role and take advantage of those business opportunities. And third, how can we develop those capabilities if we have them in-house, and how can we get those capabilities if we don't have them? So you look at those companies, like Wondo is a mobility platform, Cities, car sharing service, Satellites is a toll road, it's an application, a mobile phone application to pay toll roads. All of them have the similar approach. First of all, they are businesses that tend to make sense in themselves. We are not a charity. We try to make money out of what we do. But most importantly as well, they help us developing internal capabilities that we believe will be key to take advantage of those coming opportunities. And also, they help us understanding how mobility is evolving. Through those kind of activities, we are getting to better understand. If we understand better, we will be able to anticipate. If we anticipate ahead of our competitors, we believe we will have a better access to those opportunities.
And now, Cristina, from the point of view of Renfe, when you analyze what's going on mobility platforms, you see that all platforms trying to offer door-to-door services. So it means that the more services that you have integrated into the platform, the more possibilities has the platform to succeed. So from your perspective, from Renfe perspective, how do you face this challenge? I mean, how are you going to make Renfe evolve from a traditional transport operator to a service platform provider?
Well, thank you for inviting me. And, well, you mentioned one concept that is very important for us, and is the platform has to be global. All the mobility companies are welcome in this platform. The more companies that is integrated in our platform, the more our customer will have the possibilities to choose of all the variety. And the other question that is to evolve our company. We have our companies, we are in transport sector, we are a railway company, and we have all the knowledge of centuries how people move. And on the other hand, we have technology, and they help us to do this platform, this mobility platform, and this will help us with this mobility platform to do this digitalization transformation that we are.
Okay, thank you so much. Ivan from Porch. In the new mobility scenarios, you see that traditional roles as client, partner, competitor, they are already changed. They are changing every day, and many new actors are coming into the playground. So from your point of view, how do you expect it has to be the role of car manufacturers?
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me.
It's our summit, who's inviting?
Yeah, the automotive industry is changing very fast. It's well known in the next 5 years we will have more changes than the changes we have during the past 50 years. So the roles are changing a lot. It's not exactly in our case because we are a luxury company also, and we expect to keep our role in the industry. So it's still small, but still generating revenues and benefits in a very high profile. I can see a future where car manufacturers became not only car manufacturers, but services providers, offering mobility as a service, offering new business model to customers, but also changing in the way they will merge and cooperate with other car manufacturers. But not only car manufacturers, but maybe Google, Apple, and tech suppliers, in the way we need to change our mindset and create solutions, not only products, to adapt to a changing world. In the other hand, the world is changing very fast, not only on the behavior of the people, but also in the, we are living in an energy revolution. So probably, I'm not sure, but looks like petrol will go down somehow, and electric solar power generation will go up, probably. On the other hand, we have the pollution issue. We need to cut the CO2 emissions. So everything together will make car manufacturers change in not only 10 years or 20 years, but 5 years' time.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Carolina from Siemens, you know that actually in the transport world, we are continue seeing that our clients, our competitors, they want their own app, their own payment system, their own platform. But also our clients are talking always about, we want open systems, we don't want proprietary technologies, we want our platform. It seems that we are going to a scenario where we will have the platforms of platforms. So in all this chaos, how companies like yours or mine can help improving this situation?
Yeah, I think whenever we are speaking, and you all mentioned that, whenever we are speaking about designing the future of mobility, I think it is a high time that we start forgetting like the current players and the current technologies and start thinking what the passenger wants. If you think like what is right now, the mobility experience is pretty much staccato. You have a different machine, like depending if you are like what kind of train you are taking. You have different applications, like you're using different apps. Imagine that like Netflix is sending you to another website because you want to watch comedy. You would say like, it doesn't make sense. But this is what we are doing with mobility. And I strongly believe that that's something that we definitely need to rethink. And the platform economies like came in every single other sector. No, it came like with Booking.com. It came with flights. But look at that. It was not Lufthansa that built Skyscanner. It is not like the Hyatt chain that like built Booking.com. These were startups. And why they did it? Because they had a better solution. They were closer to the market. They were better in anticipating customer needs and also changing customer needs. And I think that that's why, obviously, strong companies, we have technological power in order to do it. But we need to be better prepared in order to anticipate and estimate like the changing customer needs. So we at Siemens, we bought one startup from Germany that has been selected as one of the most innovative companies by MIT because we knew that this is exactly the expertise that they had in mobility as a service that we were missing internally in order to really build something outstanding. Because in order to have like one dominating platform, at the end of the day, this will be passengers that will decide. And they will pick something which is outstanding on the market. So that's why like everybody is right now asking the question, how can I create something truly outstanding to passenger?
That's true. Thank you so much. Nicolas, one more question. How Sintra is preparing its infrastructure assets in order to be a leading player in the scenario of mobility as a service?
Well, I said before that we try to look ahead, first of all. No? So let me give you a very brief summary of what we see coming, and I think matches very much what has been said here. There are two very important trends that are happening out there, the technological trend and the social trend. Technologically, in the mobility, we're seeing the shared mobility, which should not be called shared because really it's one user after the other. We're seeing the ride-hailing. We're seeing the autonomous cars coming. All that bringing affordability of use and easiness of use. What we are seeing right now when we look at how cities are evolving after 5 or 6 years of ride-hailing is a dramatic exponential increase in congestion. Some of the owners of Uber, he was saying that it was going to be the solution to urban congestion, rather the opposite. It's dramatically increasing. The social trends that we see coming, certainly sustainability, that's very important right now. Affordability has always been there, but there are new trends, for example, immediacy. Young generations want immediacy. A high frequency of movement. People move much, much more than before. You want something personalized to your case. On all that together, what is again reinforcing the idea that mobility is increasing dramatically, demand is increasing dramatically, and the offer we are giving those people willing to move is certainly going up, but it's not going to cope with that dramatic increase in demand. So what we see coming is there is a transformation in the cities coming. That transformation is going to be holistic. It's going to be global. You mentioned the globality of it. It's going to require companies that are multi-skilled, that are that play new roles in all that development. And there's a very important element there is that it is going to require investments today, and very few people are looking at who is going to pay for the party. Someone will have to pay for the party. And at the end of the day, it may end in solutions type London or Stockholm or Milan or Singapore, where people will have to pay to access, for example, in their cars, and the cities and so on. And that will create a long-term revenue, not an immediate revenue. So we do see a role we can play, not only on providing mobility, on developing more of these ideas that we are already developing, but as well, at the end of the day, Ferrovial is a company that invests on the long term in infrastructure. We believe there is a lot of infrastructure that needs to be done, and there's a need to invest, and that's where we see our role.
Okay, perfect. Cristina, we've been talking about mobility platforms, and I think that we agree all that it's really important for the success of the platform that there's the option to contract the service and pay the service through the platform. So Renfe already has a platform. You have a booking and payment system already, mainly for rail tickets. You have other services integrated, but it's mainly for rail. So in this context, how do you expect Renfe will be able to take advantage of this leading position and what's coming on the next months and years to make this scale on a bigger scenario?
Well, you've mentioned the payment, and it's important, and we decide that in our future platform, we will have all included, and it doesn't make any sense that the customer, when do the payment, has to go out of this app and then come back. So it's very important for the user experience that everything is included in this platform. And answering your question about how scale Renfe, Renfe has already customers in all the mainly cities, but we want to reach not only the big cities, but also the small cities. All of them has to be included in this platform. And in order to scale this, it's not only inner transportation and inner mobility of the city, but also intercities. We have to make them a solution that it's all included. The mobility in the inner city and the mobility in intercities. And what's coming on in the next month, I invite you to be in this pilot. It's a proof of concept that we are doing with IOMOB. IOMOB is our startup that is working in Trend Lab. It's an incubator of startups in Renfe. And we are doing a door-to-door Madrid-Barcelona. And we will have a landing page you can go in and try to we'll pick up to 500 candidates of these people that want to be tester of this new app, and we want you to be in.
Okay, we will try.
Yeah. And for the coming years, in 2020, we would like to launch our own platform that it will be different modules in this platform. It's the planner, it will be one module. Other is the ticketing and payment. Other the CRM, the customer relationship management, and the integration with all providers. So all these modules plug in this platform.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, from a different perspective, Renfe is going to try to arrive to everybody.
Yeah.
And now, ports, I would like to ask Ivan, in this new ecosystem where it seems that we are going to be able to consume close to everything as a service, where ports expects to be? I mean, you are, let me say, a luxury mobility option.
Yeah.
So just reserved for a few ones, how do you expect to be in the next scenario? Which will be your role?
Yeah. We expect to keep on leading the smart mobility industry, but keeping our values, which are sport car manufacturer and exclusivity. To keep this goal, we need to keep on pushing on our strategy, long-term strategy. Our long-term strategy is not only manufacture the best cars, sport cars and luxury cars, but also create the new business models needed. Not only selling cars, but we are experiencing some new business model, like Porsche Passport, which is a mobility as a service. So you pay a fee, and you don't have to own a car, but you can use a car every day in a month, and you can choose which model you prefer every week. So, and this is only a part of the project we are running to keep on leading the smart mobility area. We also need to transform the way we are working, not only with our supplier and customers, but with the innovation ecosystem. For instance, this strategy is running very fast. In the next 7 to 10 years, we'll adapt to the electric powertrain. So over 50% of our cars will be electric or hybrid. So new powertrain, new technology, new business models, new way of working close to the innovative ecosystem. So if we are able to keep on deploying our strategy, we will keep on leading the smart mobility of sport cars and luxury cars in the next over 70 years, because we are 70 years old nowadays.
So we would have a different ports every single week.
If you pay a fee big enough.
We can talk later about the fee.
Sure, no problem.
I have new
Carolina.
customers.
Carolina, which barriers do you detect today for the implementation of the latest technologies in mobility sector, like mobile phone-based ticketing, check-in, check-out systems, etc.?
Yeah. So I think that it's really funny because I've been working in digitalization right now 10 years, and basically we are always speaking about barriers, right? Digitalization, there is no one single sector that digitalization came and it has been accepted from day one. So it's absolutely normal that you have some adoption time, right? So it doesn't mean that like it's not applicable, it doesn't work. Even electricity arrived to like the last household first after 30 years. So it's absolutely normal. The automatic ticketing, I don't know, like if you know it, we have it in our portfolio, which is a kind of a solution that will allow you to pay for the ticket. It will recognize once you're entering the train or like the bus. Once you're leaving, it will just like charge automatically. It will just like pick what is the best option for you. Nevertheless, I mean, like first of all, I would love to use that, but it's not available in many cities because right now cities, whenever they are right now upgrading their ticketing system, they are thinking about Oyster card. They are thinking about models like in Hong Kong, like in London, right? So for them, it is the reference of like how to upgrade it. So very often the system is simply not available. The second one is, if you look at the highways, right, there is like always this automatic tolling, which like some people like use it and love it because there is no line. And still, some people, for whatever reason, prefer to wait and pay cash, right? Although they have a delay and so on, because they're afraid of data, they don't trust the system. We have a little bit concern, and I think that it's absolutely human, so we need to gain some more trust with everything what is automatic, with automatic payments, right? Like that's why it doesn't really still exist in supermarkets. So I think that like this is like the second barrier. So first, it's not available. Second, like we have some objectives. And then like the third is also like, okay, how do you want to do the coexistence of different payment systems? Because look at those that decide not to have a phone, right? Which I think the upper class perhaps in the future will decide not to have phones, so like not to leave so much digital footprint. Those that are too young or perhaps like underprivileged to own the phone, those that are traveling to another city and like simply do not have the application. How do you want to make sure that you can have coexistence of different payment methods without using the benefits of, for example, the automatic ticketing? So I think that there are still some challenges because it's innovation, but it doesn't really mean that it won't come. It will come a little bit later, and we need to start progressing. My observation is that like normally Europe is a little bit late. Who is really progressing very quickly with that? Or like new cities, no? Like just like Dubai, or like small cities, or like small countries like Singapore. So they are normally stronger in adopting digitalization and new innovative solutions.
You touched one point that I wanted to ask open to all of you, but it's really important, the last point when you say, how are we going to do to be able not to live out of this ecosystem the people with low techie profile? Maybe because they don't know how to use it, or maybe because they don't want to use that. Do you have any ideas, or how are we going to manage this in the future?
Yeah, this is the big question.
Yeah.
You know, this group of people is suffering much more on the times we are living, where transformation is so fast. So there is a gap of people not included in the technology or not able to attach to the technology. And of course, I think we need to include in our strategies a few actions to include people with low attachment to technology.
The same line to say that we're talking to many different public authorities worldwide, mainly city authorities, and there's a common theme that comes into the table, and it's social equity. So at the end of the day, we're talking about developments that take place in cities that are somehow regulated. I think public authorities will be part of that to make sure that social equity is taken into account when developing these technologies.
As Renfe is a public company, we are really concerned, extremely concerned about all these people that has disabilities or whatever. And for example, the app has to be fully accessible for these people. And for example, we have thought that there are people that with this low technique profile will need, for example, a contact center or a call center that gives some advice how to use this app or to help them wherever they need. So we are thinking.
If I can add something, because I think, okay, so I think that this is not only low-tech profile that we need to take into account, but also, as you mentioned, like people with disabilities. Like we have aging population, and we seem to plan the future of mobility for millennials, assuming that like we will only have millennials working. Like even like if you need to plan how do you want to switch from one transportation medium to the other, you will definitely take more time if you have like if you're after hip replacement, right? And we will have population like aging population, so we need to prepare more so for their needs. People that are blind, people that like that have like fierce disabilities or whatsoever. So I believe that's why it already starts with customer insight generation, that we as companies, we need to make sure whenever we are making any test proof of concept, now you're planning Madrid, Barcelona, or like what we are doing like at Siemens and probably you as well, that we need to make sure that we include everybody in these customer groups, and we include everybody in the testing of our proof of concept. Otherwise, we have like this beautiful group, we test it with you guys, you all are like super tech-savvy profiles, yeah, exactly, and we are like really getting amazing results. But the problem is like we need to really have a really representation of the true population in our customer insights groups.
So what it is clear that we still have many things to do.
Absolutely.
Time is over. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. And thank you, of course, our summit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.